2026, I am going to be 40 years old this year. A 40-year-old man, straight up, right in the smack middle of middle age. And I'm going through the motions. I'm going through probably the process, the typical things that a man does when he gets to this age. At 40, I still feel like, man, I still want to push myself. I still want to like put myself into all these new situations, and I want to continue to expand and learn. I just want to continue to, I want to continue to feed the fire of, of being curious and continue to push myself, into discomfort. I believe that being comfortable is the death of me and for anyone. Being complacent, especially when you get to this age, it's easy. You might have a career by now. You worked in yourself in your 20s and your 30s, and you worked in your career, and you got to a point where you're making enough money where you can support yourself, and maybe you met a girl and you got in a relationship, or you even started a family, and life is happening. And while you're doing all that type of stuff, you find a place where you find a little complacent place where, like, a nice balance where things are just sort of working, and you don't need to put in any more extra energy to sustain it. It's like you have a routine, you get up and you work and you see your family and you eat and you sleep and you fuck and you eat and blah 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 blah. And you got a little rhythm going on. And now you quite like it. You quite like that, you have time to even relax, you might have time to watch a movie with the family or whatever. And that's a beautiful thing. That sounds amazing, right? That sounds good. And if that's your life and that's where you feel comfortable and all that, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's where you feel your true happiness. You feel your blessings. That's awesome. You can be grateful and love your life. Well, I am not there yet. Some might call me a late bloomer. I call myself a late bloomer. But I simply had to go and do other things. That's just my karma. Let's just call it that. I'm put on this earth with a certain type of background, with a certain type of come up. And in that journey, I had to go through some certain type of things, to understand. I come from pretty much nothing. So I'm quite proud of myself that I even made it this far. And at this age, I see people that are totally down and out. They just don't have the right mindset to make something of any situation. And I see people that are, complacent, that are in a good enough spot. They're just sort of comfortable, but I can clearly see that they haven't reached their potential yet. They're not pushing themselves to be their true best, and they've just found a little comfort place that they can't get out of, because once you're, man, at this age, you don't have as much energy, and you don't feel like going out there and making an ass of yourself, trying something new. People gonna judge or whatever, this and that. You might be worried about that type of stuff. So people don't do it. And there are people, even at my age, who are continuously learning, continuously pushing themselves, and they still have this wonder and curiosity about life. And they have that vivaciousness. There's an energy that is coursing through them, and they want to go out there and see what else is possible. You wake up every day and you look outside and you're like, you know, there's so much more. There's so much more that I can do. And if I just throw myself in that deep end, do something new that I have never done before, do something scary that I've never done before, allow myself to go and simply express my desire for life, and that type of energy, I see in some people, but it's rarer. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just the environment that I'm in, um, where I don't have that type of people around me as much. Definitely being with younger people, it's easier to find that. But I believe those people exist regardless of age. It's completely a mindset thing. It's completely how you look at life. It's how you wake up. It's how you sleep. It's how you think. It's how you feel. Everything. So it is a habit. It is a conditioning. You keep doing that. You keep thinking like this, and you literally transform from within. Like you are that person that think like that, and anybody can. Uh, People like to make excuses. They're gonna have all kinds of reasons why they're not like that. It's a choice. If you think that's true, then that's true. You're gonna be that guy who isn't gonna be enthusiastic or energetic or excited about anything at all. And you're gonna have excuses. It's all excuses. You're just scared. You're just scared to do something new. You're just scared to be embarrassed. You're scared to be rejected. You're scared to be, to fail. And that's a lot of people. But I know that people that are not that exist. They're out there, and it's super important. What kind of environment that you put yourself into, and I'm telling that to myself as well. You know, I'm 40 this year. In the summer, I'll be 40, and I'm really looking forward to this whole new chapter. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I've done a lot, since I moved here in Montreal when I was 20 years old, and here I am. I've spent half my life here, which is fucking crazy to me. Wow. Time flies, man. Time fucking flies. It does and it doesn't. Like, I've done a lot. So much has happened. I've lived a lot of things, and I'm super grateful for that. Tons of experiences. And now at 40, I'm looking forward to putting all of that into use. There's a there's so much I can do. And I definitely want to start to push myself in a new direction. I'm ready for a new challenge. I was definitely a little too comfortable in the last couple of years, and that's led to this stagnation that I've felt in the last while. But I'm really starting to feel that fire reigniting inside me, putting that fuel in the fire, and just coming back from a little vacation, to Japan to see family, and Thailand for just hanging out on the beach and relax and giving myself that little break, and the reward. I do feel like I had time to think about where I want to go, and what this next decade is going to be about. And I definitely think that it's not going to be the same as what my 30s was about. My 30s is kind of about finding stability. It was about relationships. It was about pushing my comfort zone for sure. It was about understanding myself deeper. And I feel like the next decade, it's going to be more about going for the gold. For the thing to achieve the things that I want to achieve, I need to become successful. Like, incredibly successful. And I feel like at this point I realize that I need to own the things. I need to own myself. And that's in pragmatic sense. Like, I need to own a business. I cannot be I cannot be subjugated to other people's hiring me for to make a living. I want to be completely independent. I have to be dependent only on myself. And I say this um, having experienced both, being a freelancer, I have been a freelancer all my life, but before I became a camera assistant in a unionized field, uh, I was just running around hustling, networking, meeting people, doing free shit, doing whatever I gotta do to market myself, put my name out there, meeting people, getting work out there. Sometimes doing some things that you know, like work that wasn't truly my passion, but what I had to do it so that I can get to where I gotta go. And everything had this purpose, and it was all for me. Like I had to do it. Nobody was gonna tell me what to do, and I couldn't wait for anybody to do it for me. But now as a camera assistant, it's more like, well, I can't go out there and make the jobs. I can I can still do the networking. I can still keep myself active, but it's a little different. I gotta sort of wait for a production to choose a DP, and the DP's gonna choose me, right? And I'm not really 100% in control of that, right? I can do things to uh, improve my chances, but still, as a principal, like I'm not completely in. I don't own that process. I'm not there owning that. You know what I mean? And I think this is where I gotta go. This has been the one grievance. One thing I just didn't like about this new arrangement. For the last 10 years, I've done this for the last 10 years. And when I got into it, I had a goal like in 5 years, I'm going to establish myself as somebody who is working a lot in that field and in that position. And I succeeded at that. And for the last 5 years, I've basically been working consistently, and I made a living out of it. And so I did achieve my goal. I did achieve it. And when I got into it, I was in a relationship. So, the priorities were at the time as a younger person, I wanted to see if I can if I can provide, can I, instead of, before that relationship, I was running around freelancing and, marketing myself and going out and getting gigs, but it was unstable and I wasn't making that much money, and I got kind of tired, of the uncertainty of it. So then I got into this where I find more stability. I can provide, in the relationship. And that was good. But personally, for me, I don't find the satisfaction that I want. I don't like being, I don't like not being in control of my own destiny, and the only way to have that is to have my own business, to own it, to own myself, right? I don't want to be an employee. Okay, I want to have a full control over, like, if I win, it's because I put in the work. And if I don't, it's because I didn't put in the work. It's just black and white. You either win or you lose. And it's completely up to me which way I go. Okay? And the products I push, the services I provide, how I serve people, how I can provide value to the people, that is completely up to me as well. Like, how is it that I'm going to help people? How is it that I'm going to add value to other people's lives? It's not limited to this one function that I have right now, which is just assisting, camera department, assisting that. And that's my only purpose or my only function, right? And especially in today's age, it's 2026. The world is changing extremely rapidly, and you must be adaptable. And I don't like just sitting there, watching the world evolve while I just could do the same thing. And I don't believe that, my job is secure, like, people doing manual labor, all right, people working with their hands, my job is pretty manual. Like, there's a lot of technicalities to it, but it is still a job where I work with my hands. You know, it's a physical job. So it's a little bit safer than, let's say, a knowledge-based job, probably. But even the industry itself, okay, content, okay, entertainment, all of that is changing, right? With creators, content creators out there, of course, we're still gonna have professionals making, you know, the mainstream media. There's still gonna be, you're still gonna need technical people doing the work to capture events and capture stories, okay, to do it in the professional, high level way. You're still gonna need people like me to do that. But even then, you know, the game is changing, so I don't want to just sit idle and watch it from the sidelines. I wanna put myself at the spearhead. You know, I want to be at the cutting edge of things. So to do that, I gotta be out there doing new shit. Okay, and that's important to me. That's very important to me because that's just how I think. That's how I like to operate. That's what gets me excited. I don't like to sit around and watch things just happen. I want to be part of the action. I want to understand how things are changing in the world. I want to understand the energy, the vibe, the dynamics of the front lines. You know, that's how I feel about it. So that's what the 40s, that's what the next decade is going to be. I want to own it. I want to own myself. I want to own the business. And I want to be able to offer the service that is truly aligned to how I can best serve, how I can best provide value, and be able to adapt and evolve, and really have the most impact that I can possibly have on other people's lives. You know, to try to really help people in whatever struggles or pain they have. Okay, that's how I can truly succeed personally, you know. And I want that, I want the great success of I want that material success as well. I want that real reward, you know, making enough money so that I can really provide for the people that I love and give them the best that I can possibly give them. You know, that's what I really thought about in Thailand, on the sitting on the beach, you know, and thinking about what the next decade is going to be like. And I really thought about, that is what I want now. That is what I want, you know. 30s, the experimentation, relationships, meeting different types of people, different girls, different relationships, different experiences. You know, I feel like I've done it. And I'm glad I did. You know, it was an adventure. But you know, what I get from that now, it's not really new anymore. You know, it's just kind of become repetitive. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, if I see another thing, girl, get into another relationship, get into another whatever, you know, the emotions you get are basically the same, right? You can romanticize it, saying like, oh, it's different, it's never happened before, you know, but it's not true. It's just your mind making you feel like that, so that you can justify, you can rationalize it into making it meaningful. All right, but in actuality, it is actually the same. All right, I don't maybe I sound jaded, but really I think this, you know, it's the same. You go through the same motions of, like, you know, you meet somebody, you feel certain things, and you feel this flat, like the butterflies, and you start to think this is cool and special and all this stuff, you know, and then you get into it, and then you start getting into a rhythm, and we just do human things. We're predictable. Like, we fall into human behavior patterns, and then, you know, you have those emotions go away, and now you're back to living your life. You know, your life, like, your life is very simple, actually. You know, we're predictable animals. Like, dogs do what dogs do, whales do what whales do, giraffes do giraffe things, and humans do human things. Okay, so if I constantly chase those highs, you know, it just becomes like a drug. It's a repetitive thing, and you can get bored of it, and then you need more, and you need more. You need a bigger hit. You need something crazier to happen. it's a vicious cycle. It's a fucking drug. Everything in life, you can look at it like a drug that if you have too much of, it's not good for you, right? So I gotta get, I got you gotta get okay with like how are you doing the simple things in life and how you deriving the most pleasure out of those simple things when you start doing human things. Like when as a human you start doing human things, and how much pleasure do you get out of it without having this super high and super lows. You don't need that. I don't need it no more. Okay. So that's how I was feeling, sitting on the beach in Thailand, looking out there and thinking about what my decade is going to be coming up. I feel that it's going to be about owning myself, owning my business, being able to provide value in the way that I see fit to the people that really want it and need it, and making a really, really good living. I want to make fuck you money. All right. I don't want to be a fucking employee, an assistant, fucking pushing. Sure, I did that. I accomplished that. I became good at it and I accomplished it. But you know what? The criteria of success have changed, and I see myself evolving into the next place in my life. And so that's how I feel about it. I want that freedom, and I ultimately want to provide for that family that I would like to start. I want to show the kids these beautiful things in life that I've seen, that I understand. I want to give them that opportunity, give them that experience, and do it with somebody who feel the same way about life and about the world, and that we can take pleasure in that, on a daily basis. Just take pleasure in the fact that we're able to do that, and to be there and to witness it and experience that and just grow old like this. I'm ready for that. You know, I'm a late bloomer. I'm a 40-year-old man this year, and it took me this time to figure that out. But I had to do it my own way. I didn't jump into anything because I felt like somebody told me, or I had social expectations, or other people are doing it, so I gotta do it. No, 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 no. Fuck what other people are doing. I'm doing it at my own pace. This is the speed I'm at. I got my karma to live, and this is it. This is how it is. All right. That was basically a rant, but it is what it is. It's Naturalized Pod, and that's what came out. And it's been a while. I had to come back on here and start talking to you guys. I miss doing it. I want to engage with you guys. I want to have this conversation, And I'm also just getting things off my chest. Sure, absolutely, that is true, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And if you just sitting there, listening to me, you were able to gain some insights, or you got you thinking about something, or even if you disagree with me, or you think I'm crazy or whatever, all of that is valid. All of it. I'm just having a conversation. Okay. So if you want to join, you can comment. You can comment below, and I like to have a conversation because I'm just yapping here. And if you give me your own opinion, your own worldviews, and your own like thoughts about the topic, then that's great, because I get to expand. I get to hear it from different angles. That's awesome. That's valuable to me, and hopefully it is valuable to you too. So yeah, that's it. Today's a Monday. So let's go have a fucking kick-ass week. It is 27th of January 2026, and I wish you a great week. Sun's coming up, sky's blue. It's going to be a beautiful day. All right? I'll see you in the next one.